Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be testing the limits of Tiny10, which is a version of Windows 10 for PCs with lower amounts of RAM or memory or RAM and memory are the same thing. I meant storage. So first we're going to be testing it with 4 gigabytes of RAM, which is actually the Windows 11 minimum requirements. Hopefully it doesn't do a stupid thing just because I full screen this time, but if it does, I'll just deal with it. Okay, nope, never mind, it did. Okay, I'll just have to add those together, those two clips. So as we can see, it's running perfectly fine. We can use Edge, and it has almost no lag. Fun fact, I prefer Edge over Chrome. I know it's a sin almost to say that, but they did change some stuff that allowed you to modify everything, and like I think you should be able to hold on. Yeah. I think you get the point. Like settings. Yeah, I'm not gonna waste a bunch of time doing this, but I think you get the point. You can do all that, and yeah, it runs completely fine. There's nothing wrong with the operating system. Like, there's no delay in text. Just to remind you, this is Windows 10, so it's just a modified version of Windows 10. There's no cursor drag or anything. It's fine. So, yeah. Okay, so now we're going to be using 2 gigabytes of RAM and seeing how that goes. So we go to memory, change that down to 2 gigabytes. Okay, power on the machine. Okay, so we're back in the virtual machine, and everything seems to be running fine already. Ooh, Edge is a little bit slower now. Typing, there's nothing wrong with the typing. Let's see the search results. Google. Yeah, there's no lag or anything. I do use Bing. Don't worry. Even on Chrome, I use Bing. The start menu seems to be fine. Search seems to be fine. I got worried there for a second. So we're gonna open. Okay, now we're gonna be using 2 gigabytes, or 1 gigabyte of RAM. Sorry, we're already using 2 gigabytes of RAM. I wonder how this is gonna go, because I've never made a virtual machine with less than 2 gigabytes of RAM. It's always been at least 2 gigabytes. So we're gonna go to 1 gigabyte and power on the machine. Okay, so far the machine is powering on perfectly fine. I haven't gotten a blue screen yet, so that's a good thing. I'm kind of expecting it to work fine with 1 gigabyte of RAM, because it's just, it's Tiny10, and it's meant for computers with trash RAM. Ooh, that's different. We are starting to see a small, little tiny bit of problems, like the typing is a bit slower, the start menu is a bit laggy. Now let's see Edge. Ooh, Edge is taking a bit to load. Dang. Okay. It booted pretty fast though. Dang. Okay. This thing's pretty tough so far. This thing's gonna be tough to break. How long does it take for a file manager to open? Not very long, actually. Haven't trashed anything yet. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to be trying 0.5 gigabyte of RAM. Or 512 megabytes. I have a feeling it's gonna start getting bumpy from here. It's booting, so that's amazing. I thought that it wasn't gonna boot. Oh, I thought that. Oh, dang. It's good. This is good. I thought it wasn't gonna boot on this. I thought it was just gonna straight up blue screen by the time we got to this point. But no, it holds strong. Oh. That's a little bit of a problem. Let's see the start menu. Oh gosh. Does the start menu even open? I mean, it booted, which is nice. Oh my gosh. The little operating system who could? It's very laggy now, but it works. It's not even as laggy as the computer that my brother uses, though. I have a feeling that Edge is gonna fail to boot. I have a feeling that Edge is gonna crash the whole entire virtual machine. It's running. It's running horribly, but it's running. Oh my gosh. How is this still faster than my brother's old crappy computer that he got from mom? I have a feeling this news is gonna start becoming a problem on Edge. So I think I'm gonna, from here, I'm just gonna modify this a little bit. And go to settings for Edge. And turn off background and news stuff. That is very bad. That is not good. is not good. Oh my. Edge is causing a ruckus. What about a control delete? What is control? How long does it take to open control delete? Not very long. It takes a shorter amount of time than my brother's computer. Okay. This is gonna get bad from here on out. Okay, so now we're gonna be doing 500, or no, not 500, 256 megabytes of RAM. And see how it goes. I have a feeling it's going to fail miserably. But if this becomes the little operating system who could, and it can go under that, then I will probably personally contact the creator of Tiny10 and congratulate them. I might literally do that. I might send them an email saying, "Congratulations, you've blown my mind." Okay, so now we're going to do 256 megabytes. Yay. This is gonna fail miserably. The recommended minimum is 2 gigabytes. And we're very far under that. I'm feeling this time around is gonna act like my brother's old crappy computer. Ooh, what's happening there? Oh. Oh. Of course it does. Of course it boots. Of course it boots. Of course it boots. Because why wouldn't it boot? Why would it not boot? Stupid operating system. That's annoying. The fact that this booted makes me kind of angry. I don't understand. I don't understand. That is like Windows XP RAM. That is like a RAM that a Windows XP device has. That is not fair. That is not fair. And my computer isn't screaming at me either. Wait. Did it fail to boot? Hold on. I've been sitting here for a while now, and it hasn't done anything. What if I did Control-Delete? Nothing. I think this is where it ends. I think this is where it stops booting. Odd. Huh. Well, it's not really odd at all, but it's expected, but I'm kind of sad that it ended already. Well, we'll wait a little bit longer to see if it boots, but if it doesn't boot, then we're gonna have to call it quits already. Or just crank up the RAM a little bit. Because I don't think this is enough RAM for the system to start. Yep. It is not enough RAM for the system to even start. Okay. So we're going to shut off the guest operating system and give it a little bit more RAM. I'm going to say 316 megabytes. Power on the machine. Let's see if she boots. Your PC is not... Let's try again. Try again. Try again. Startup settings. Startup settings? There's nothing I can do. Recovery environment? Oh my gosh. It's failed. Escape. Firmware settings. Reset the system. Recovery. It's failed. It has failed. It's not booting anymore. We technically got a win here. We technically won. We beat Windows. We beat Windows. We beat Windows. But I think we still should try to get in a point where it's bootable, but it sucks. You see where I'm going here? We're gonna change the amount of RAM it has back up to, let's try 388 megabytes. Let's see if that fails. If this fails to boot, then yep, I think Tiny10 isn't very good. I've seen Tiny11 boot on trash hardware. I don't think Tiny10 was as good. I mean, we have firmware settings, but it's failed. It has failed to boot. Again. Escape. Just shut down the system then. Okay. I'm starting to lose hope for the operating system that could. We're gonna try 412 megabytes. I hope it boots. I hope it boots. Dang it, I didn't boot. Dang, I think the minimum RAM it can have is 512. Shut down. Now, maybe if we go up a little bit. 448. Well, I think this might be where we wrap things up, guys. We're gonna try one more RAM. We're gonna try one more RAM mountage of 480. If that fails to boot, then it seems that I really wanted this to go down to 225 to 256, but failed. If this fails to boot, then this is where we wrap things up. Yep. We can't do anything. Nothing works. F8. Escape just goes into the boot manager. I mean, we could try 500 megabytes. Well, let me do that. Yep, let me do that. But if it fails, that's odd, because that's only 12 megabytes. Oh, that's only 12 megabytes. Wait, from 512. That is so odd. Maybe 506 megabytes? 510 megabytes? We're gonna try to push this as far as we can. 5006. Oh. Maybe 508 then. Okay. Dang it! Yep. 512 megabytes is the cap out. It's the minimum that Tiny10 can take. This is kind of unfortunate. I really wanted to go further down. But if you want me to try a different tiny version of Windows, then like the video, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye, friends.